I told y'all that God's been trying to get me to tell my story. And I'm going to tell you another story about how we had a loss and how we had a wonderful miracle take place. And I realize this isn't for everyone, because some people have many losses, one after the other after the other. And I can tell you that I can understand that. And I'm going to say it and I'll say it again about our story, is that we have been through so many different things. It doesn't seem like it's a reality. We've been through so many different things in this life together so far that it doesn't seem like it's real. Because no one can possibly go through that many things and survive. No one can possibly go through that many things and still be okay. And still be able to laugh. And still be able to have good times. And still be able to make good memories. And still be able to have peace. There's no way, right? There's absolutely no way that my husband can almost die. There's no way that we can have a miscarriage, which is what I'm going to talk about today. There's no way that we can go through a house fire. There's no way we can go through job loss. There's no way that we can go through all the different things that we've been through and still be okay. But there is a way, and that way is Jesus. I'm not going to start quoting scriptures on this particular topic, because whenever you start talking about something as delicate and as devastating as a miscarriage, it's not something that people want to hear. Hey, this is the balm, this is the scripture that's going to fix it. Because although scripture is God-breathed, although scripture is what you need to hear and what you need to take in and to apply to your life, because that's what I believe and that's what I know, I also acknowledge the fact that that not everybody wants a Bible thrown at them, and I'm not going to do that today. Not only because of that reason, but because I'm exceptionally tired. I have a newborn, and I don't have any scriptures that are coming to mind right now. This is completely on the fly, because I feel like God is asking me to tell this story right now. Aside from getting eaten alive by mosquitoes out here by the pool. It's a beautiful evening. It is, I don't know, probably 70-something degrees outside. But at any rate, so, I'm on my beginning of my 6th week of maternity leave from our wonderful miracle of our son. I'll start from the beginning. 2 years ago, in 2022, it was the same year that my grandfather passed away, because he passed away in June, on June 21st, and we found out on June 22nd that they confirmed that we lost our first pregnancy. In October of that previous year, 21, so it was 22. It was 22. So in October of 21, we sold our house and were able to move on into a rental in a significantly nicer part of town, and live in that home for a year. We got pregnant in that home, and we had our loss in that home, and unfortunately I had to have a D&C in that home. That following spring, we decided to try and get pregnant. We hadn't been trying really at that point. We didn't really have a plan for when we wanted to, but we just decided to stop trying not to be pregnant, and we carried on that way for a while. It took probably 2 months, and I ended up being able to get pregnant, which is pretty amazing. We were so incredibly happy. I made a cute little announcement and everything with decorations, and did like a little setup and stuff on the table, and told my husband that we were having a baby, and it was really exciting. Um, Fast forward, the first few weeks, it was still very exciting. Made my first prenatal appointment. Everything was great. Went in for my first prenatal appointment. I was supposed to be 8 weeks at that point. Went in for my first prenatal appointment. My husband was there for the first one, which was great. We got the ultrasound, and they didn't see what they needed to see. At 8 weeks, I now know, because we had a positive experience with our son, you're supposed to be able to see, like a little gummy bear sized baby with a fluttering heartbeat. And very strong, fluttering heartbeat. And we didn't even see that. We didn't even see hardly anything there. They gave it, another couple of weeks, which was really difficult to go through. They said that, come back in another couple of weeks. We'll see if you may be a little bit early with your cycle or whatever. And then we went back, and we were able to confirm that we had a loss, that we had an early miscarriage at 6 weeks. It was devastating, to say the least, because it was our first attempt at trying to be pregnant, and we're so excited. And it was absolutely devastating to go through that loss. Grief is funny that way, that it'll hit you at any point, and it probably took me about a year and a half of being in the church service of all places. And after we went through the church service, I would see, little babies, I would see kids, I would see small children, I would see toddlers holding their mother's hands, and I would just start bawling. And at the time, I was beating myself up, not because I was grieving, but because I thought it was odd that was the only place that God could really get through, and where that was the only place that I could allow myself to grieve. I was able to grieve after I spent time with God at church, and I didn't know why I couldn't do it anywhere else, and that's where I beat myself up. When I tell you the deep level of sadness that you feel when you lose a child at any time, it doesn't matter whether they had a heartbeat or not. That was a life, and that was a life that was created by God for a purpose. It doesn't matter how developed that life is, that was a life. It doesn't matter if it was tissue. It doesn't matter if it didn't have a heartbeat. It doesn't matter. That was a life. And that was a hope. And that was a peace. You cannot tell me that that wasn't a life. Fast forward another year or two goes by. I find out that I have another condition that could cause some form of infertility. I have a very mild endometriosis, and I also have a condition called PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, which doesn't allow for your body to ovulate in regular intervals. You can sometimes not get periods. It's just hard to predict your periods, and it's hard to predict your cycles and your ovulation process. And so because of that, I have a very high probability rate of not being able to get pregnant. But about a year or two later, we had stopped trying because I don't think that we could have handled it emotionally at that point. So we stopped trying for a while. We had some other stuff going on that we were trying to take care of, and so we didn't really want to bring any life into the situation. And then, time goes on, we move to another house. We're able to rent another home closer to where the kids go to school, which we enjoyed that time. And, again, it was a very intimate time with our family. It was great. It was very, very good times. Very good times in that house. And then it came time to be able to leave that house, or we had to leave that house. And we found a home that we were literally burned out of. And during the time of between being forced out of the house because of a fire and moving into an apartment home with all three of our kids, my husband, myself, and my pregnant self, because I was pregnant at the time that we moved into this place, we found out that we were pregnant again, obviously. So we were living in a hotel at the time, which made it really interesting to be pregnant in a hotel and trying to figure out, what foods I could eat, what foods I can't eat, what made me feel good, what made me feel bad. Early on, though, thank God that it didn't, the nausea and all that didn't really hit so bad. But it was later on that the nausea and everything else started happening, which was good. So I am very thankful that my pregnancy, as far as that part of it goes, was relatively easy. But all that to say is that I see you, I hear you, I feel your deep, deep, deep loss. I feel your deep, deep, deep sadness. I feel your grief. Because grief can hit you at any time. It doesn't matter time or day. It doesn't matter any of that. It doesn't matter. It can hit you. It doesn't matter what brings it on at all. It will hit you. And you are loved. You are seen. And you are kept beyond measure. And miracles can happen out of the darkest storms. The theme for our baby shower for this baby was "You Are My Sunshine." And I can't sing that song without crying, because our sunshine came out of our storm. And we're still kind of in the midst of a storm. I mean, there's no way to beat around the bush about this. We're in the midst of a storm. But the goodness of God and the kindness of other people, and we're slowly crawling our way out of it, and it will happen again where we are better prepared to be not in this storm. But our baby boy is our sunshine in the midst of it. Not only is he our sunshine in the midst of it, he is literally our rainbow baby. Because if you know anything about pregnancy loss and infant loss, the baby that you have after you have a loss, after you suffer a loss, is considered your rainbow baby. He is not only a rainbow baby, he is our literal sunshine in the midst of this storm. And out of the ashes, hope arises, right? There's that song. Up from the ashes, hope will arise. Death is defeated, the King will arise. Out of the ashes comes the greatest thing you could ever ask for. Keep hoping, keep enduring, keep stepping, keep getting out of bed every day and putting your feet on the floor. And just find out. Just wait to see who you're going to be tomorrow. Who are you tomorrow? You don't know who you are tomorrow yet. Keep your face up. Keep walking. Keep stepping. You're still going to be here. Even if the worst should happen, you're still going to be here. Keep hoping. Keep enduring. Keep going. Meanwhile, I hear you. I see you. I know you. I am you. I love you. Keep going.